is connected.
I didn't ask how your week was.
Oh, well, it started on a Monday, and it ends tomorrow.
Oh, good.
That's about it.
Oh, all right. Well,
Yeah.
can't ask for more than that.
Yeah, there you go. Gosh, not nearly exciting as what yours has been. So you got all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, I've been. Well, just mental anguish on some of it, though.
Sure. I found out.
But I haven't played golf, though.
Oh no! Well, see, now you have to make up for that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like 3-4 days ago, I followed this antique collectible store in Polk City.
1 minute until showtime.
I mentioned them on the show and everything on Saturdays, and trying to give them a plug, and whoever's out there probably in France or Switzerland to come over and take a look at it. But I found out they're closing, and they're closing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this weekend, I think it was a brick and mortar store, and they have all kinds of stuff there, and they're shutting it down, and they say they're still going to look for another place, but it's just maybe the location or something. I was like, well, that's pretty sad. I mean, I was hadn't been there too often, but it was a cool place to go into.
But you mentioned it quite a few times.
Oh yeah. I was telling people, come on out there, if you're ever in the U.S. but trying to, give them plugs and stuff.
Any locals, anything?
Yeah. Not far off of I-4, and then they made an announcement that they're going to have to close up and probably find another place.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds.
Here we go.
4, 3,
We're not
2,
talking.
1.
I know, we should just extend this.
Blog Talk Radio.
No. You can always mute her and just keep talking.
Yeah, okay.
This.
I mean, we don't have to play the intro.
This is. Yeah, everybody knows who we are.
Unless
we can just go right into the show.
And here we are.
Is All About Wine, the talk show dedicated to the wine industry since 2009. Featuring winemaker, cellar master, vineyardist, and tasting expert, Ron.
Basically, what we're trying to do on this program is just trying to educate people and trying to make wine less confusing and more friendly.
From coast to coast and around the world.
We really have had some neat people on the program. I love that.
Post your questions and comments during the live show on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/allaboutwinebtr. Again, that's www.facebook.com/allaboutwinebtr.
All About
and now,
Wine.
All About Wine is on. Here's Ron.
Us people are thrilled to pieces. It is beautiful weather here in Florida tonight.
Yep.
And
yeah, definitely.
in fact, it is so beautiful. I grabbed the computer and I'm sitting in the porch, I should say,
doing
porch,
the
on
show
the porch.
on the porch, like outside.
I'm doing the show on the porch, like outside on the porch. Well, it's a screen porch, but
sure. But you're still out there.
I am doing the show. I'm still out there. When the summer is just too hot, I mean, it's just uncomfortable. And in the winter, most of the time, it's just too cold to sit out comfortably on the porch. Well, tonight I stepped outside and I went, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous out here. And so
you wouldn't have done that.
I told the engineer, I said,
when we were in the 20s or 30s, whenever that was, you guys got into.
No,
definitely not the time to do that. But
no,
that
would not have happened. I guarantee you. Well, tonight it was just like, oh, it is gorgeous out here. So I told the engineer, I said, I'm going to take the computer out to the porch and do the show from the porch. And she goes, oh, okay. So I am doing it from the porch. A new location tonight.
Live report outside.
So beautiful out here. Had to do it. Yeah. So,
very good.
I had to do something. Haven't been playing golf, so I had to do something to enjoy this beautiful weather. I am playing golf tomorrow, though, so I'll get back on on the golf.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see.
No guest.
Okay.
We didn't have a guest last week. They did email me about 6:45, and I didn't see it. At 6:45, I usually don't check, the emails coming in, and I missed it. Besides that, last week I was so late. What was it, about a minute till that I came on because my sister was visiting, and I started to visit with her, and all of a sudden I went, oh no, and I went running. So that's another reason why I didn't check the email. Yeah. So we have no guest tonight, and I'm corresponding with like 3 people, so it looks like February might be a busy month. Everyone's taking a long time to get back and forth. It takes me a couple of days for some reason, because I'm just don't check it as fast as I should, and then they take a couple of days to check back. So looks like February we're going to get guests.
Very good.
So we got that to look forward to. And before I forget it, too, every Saturday morning, Mike is live on Flightline Radio. So be sure to tune in to him.
Yes.
And he's always entertaining and enjoyable and informative.
Oh,
so,
thank you.
Which one of the informatives that he just told me was the fact that the what would you call the shop that?
It's called Joe's Picker Place. They do antiques. They have collectible items. They have some handmade items. It's just a unique store, and I tell people about it like every Saturday. Just support local businesses. Don't just stay away from the big box stores. You're not going to find anything unique there. Everybody's got it. But I've been in there and find all kinds of cool stuff. They're like little jewelry things. They'll have things for the home that are sometimes hard to find, but they go out and pick places and then put it in their store. And I found out they were closing, and I believe this is the last week. So hadn't been open very long, but there's not a lot of parking there, and I think that might have hurt things. I don't know, but it's just hopefully they'll find another place.
That's too bad.
Maybe they'll find another place that.
If you listen to Mike on Flightline Radio, then you would have heard him talk about it before too. Because I remember once he started telling me, I said, "Oh yeah, you talk about that a lot." So, but maybe a new place. If that's the case, then Joe will get a new shout out from all of us.
Yeah, Joe's Picker Place. It's actually run by Donna. And she's the one. She gave a kind of an interesting story about how they got the name Joe. It's it goes back a ways, but it's just she's the one who operates it and runs it, and just did that as a what do you call it, a commemorative remembrance thing of I believe it was her son. So I got to go back through the story, but just kind of dedicated to him. It's it used to be called Picker Joe's. I think there was a copyright issue from another business, and they renamed it to Joe's Picker Place. Yeah, there's some bad things going on. You pick the wrong name.
Oh, I know.
or think it's a good
they
name,
jump
but,
on you so fast.
Oh yeah.
Anything close too.
Yep.
It happened.
Yeah, I thought you had a story. Maybe you didn't have a story like that. I thought there was something you shared with us years ago.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah,
about
at the winery.
I thought there was something.
It's we in 2009 when we opened, we registered all the names and everything with the proper authorities, the federal TTB. You got to register your wine names with TTB, and we register them there. Also, local, the state of Florida requires us to have these names because, so no one else in Florida will pick the same name and all that. So we had everything registered in 2009. Then 2014. No, 2013 it was. Early 2013. We got a letter from a winery in Virginia stating, well, actually from a lawyer, cease and desist using the name Plantation Blush.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was about. Yeah,
I go,
I remember that.
Yeah, I go, what? Plantation Blush? And I'm going, cease and desist. And the letter went on to say, and while you're at it, quit using Plantation Red, Plantation White, and Plantation, Spice, I guess. Those are the 4 plantations we use. And it said, but right now, stop the blush. Well, I'm going, what the, and I got a hold of the local lady who does the local TTB representative here in Florida, out of Tampa. I got a hold of her, and I told her about this letter. I said, do I have to stop using this now? And is this legal? What's going on here? And she goes, we have no other name in Florida registered as Plantation. So as far as Florida goes, you're clear. She said, you need to find out when they registered the name and when you registered the name with TTB, and whoever registered it first actually has the naming rights. And this was in Virginia. They're not going to be distributing across the country. I'm in Florida. I'm not distributing across the country. We're just local. I am sure there are other wineries using Plantation. Without question, there are others because it's a common name for Southern wines. So I got a hold of one of the people involved with the winery. Was a lawyer, and I got a hold of him, and I said, I want you to write me a letter. And I told him what I wanted in the letter, and he goes, okay. He says, let me know, where to send it, what you want, and I'll get it out. Well, I got a hold of TTB, federal TTB, and I said, when did I register my name for Plantation Blush? And she goes, well, we show it here on record as December, or no, it wasn't December, it was before then. It's right after 9/11, so it was 2009, so it was like September, middle of September 2009. And she says, that's your restoration. So I called the winery in Virginia, and I said, when did you open? I'm just curious. I didn't say who I was or anything. I think it was just some person that was working in the tasting room anyway. I said, when did you open? They said, oh, we've been open now for 5 years. And I thought, okay, thank you very much. I just ignored it. I didn't do anything more because we beat them by like 12 years. And so there was no reason for me to pursue it in any way, shape, or form because we had already beat them. And if they wanted to pursue it, it would just been foolhardy of them. So I just ignored it. And that was it. That was the last I ever heard of anything. Never got another letter saying you're not ceasing and desisting, and never got any more letters about anything. That was the end of it. So, but they probably found out that we were using Plantation on our names, and they were using it also. And so they figured they would, give their lawyer, who they probably have on retainer, something to do. And it ended there. So that was it. So, but that was a little bit of excitement in the wine business, getting a cease and desist letter.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I thought there was something related to that. I was like, I remember the story long time ago when we last heard about that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, a long time ago. Yes, we did. I'd forgotten about that until you just now mentioned it too, and then the whole thing came back to me.
Yeah.
So now.
Well.
So.
Let's see.
But that happens. They search for stuff. Don't call it that. That's our name. We have copyright on that and stuff. And you're going, wait a minute, it's just a name. Nobody's going to confuse us.
Right.
And it's like McDonald's. Tells people to quit using mech, whatever, all the time. And so but that's my last name. You can't do that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. Try to put a stop to it.
So
there we go.
They do. They, Disney World's very good at that stuff too. Trying to put a stop to anything that.
Yep.
In fact, Mickey Mouse becomes. Mickey Mouse becomes. Standard property this year, I think, doesn't it? What's it called? The copyright for Mickey Mouse is up this year. So
it's back in I think it's the public domain, but it's only the original Mickey, not the current version of it. It's the Steamboat
Willie, I think.
Yeah. That's it. That's the only thing. It's like, that's fine.
It becomes.
Yeah.
And most people never heard of Steamboat Willie anyway, so it's no big deal. Okay, well, we've talked about a quarter of the show about stuff that is absolutely useless.
Not related to wine.
I'm broadcasting from the garage. I keep wanting to say garage because I always pass through it. I'm never on the porch. I'm broadcasting from the back porch tonight because the weather is gorgeous here in Florida, in this area of Florida. And so because of that, I decided that I would bring the computer outside here and, well, it's not really outside, it's a screen porch, but bring the computer out here and do a show from out here. And the temperature gauge, I have one out here, says 76. So at 7 o'clock or 7:15 at night, 76 degrees is not bad. With apologies to everyone around the country who's listening to this now or will be listening to it over the next couple of weeks. I know you're freezing, and I'm sorry. But we've got things to talk about, odds and ends here as always. Let me see. Let me find them. What do I got here? Excuse me. What is this? This isn't. Well, something's lost here. Let me see. Well, this isn't one I looked at, but this is interesting. Okay. Let's see. The first one is. That was something different there. First one is imported wines are taking over the American market. This is not good. I saw this and I'm thinking, taking over the American market, but they are. According to this article here, the second spot in bulk wine is now the United States. We were number one in bulk wine, and the primary wine exporting nations to the U.S. now are Spain, Italy, and France. We have fallen down to second place in the bulk wine category, and the wine exporting categories, bottled and everything, again, Spain, Italy, and France. And that's, in bulk wine particularly, it was an average of 89 cents per liter, which it was up to 93 before that. And so that's quite a bit per liter. Now, you're talking thousands and thousands of gallons here, or liters, and so that does make a difference, quite a bit of difference. The export has increased this is from 2015 to 2022. They do it in 5-year increments, but because of COVID, this survey was not done in 2020, and so therefore 2022 is latest. But U.S. consumption increased by 62% for an all-time high in that period, and yet the U.S. bottling and U.S. imports, or U.S. exports, have dropped and U.S. imports have raised, and our production has tapered off. The United States production has tapered off, which is not a good thing. The domestic wine market in the United States is a total, now this is in the United States as of this article, which was right after the 1st of this month, so it's pretty current on this, January the 3rd. So January 3rd, this article came out. So as of January 3rd of this year, there are 17,371 bonded winery producers in all 50 states. Now, that bonded winery doesn't mean that they make wine, but it simply means that they sell it. Any winery that sells wine is required to be bonded, and that is it could be any small storefront or anything. 97% of these producers fall into the small to limited production category. Okay, they can get wine from from somebody down the street and bottle their own stuff and put it in the small winery. Despite the 80% increase in number of producers, now this is, since 2013, there's been a 14% decrease in vineyard surface over that same period. So we have increased, I thought there was only like 15,000 wineries. This has jumped up considerably since last time I looked at the numbers for it, since 17,351. But the vineyard space has dropped by 14%. That is substantial when you start thinking about it. The thousands of new small wineries are starting to battle against each other, if you will, to try to get grapes and try to get shelf space. Particularly grapes. This is one of the problems. The more wineries you get, the more you're trying to battle to get grapes at a decent price. And if you can't get at a decent price, it's going to cost more to produce, and therefore it's going to cost more to sell, and therefore it's going to cost you more money. And it's not just the small ones, it's all of them. Geez, that cough comes back every Thursday. But it's in the gap between domestic production and consumption, and that of import wines and international vineyards has got a larger and larger gap. And so it's starting to cause a difference in that too. It's important also to recognize that the increase in imported wines is not something that just sort of, happened. It's not just random. These imports have a lot of financial backing throughout the whole system that they're doing it. So the various foreign and domestic stakeholders are seeking to get as many U.S. consumers as possible. So even the U.S. people who have interest in these foreign wineries are bringing more foreign wines over to sell because they are selling better because it is cheaper to bring these over and sell them, and they are selling in the grocery stores and what they can make here. Okay, here, 3 points for you. Wine.com, which is the largest online wine retailer in the United States, 70% of their wines come from outside the U.S. That's a lot. There's another point. Proof by Southern Glaciers, 60% of their online SKUs are from outside the U.S. 60% from Southern Glaciers. And Total Wine and More, which is America's superstore, and that's what they build themselves as anyway, 56.5% of their online SKUs are from outside the U.S. So it's like everybody, but that wine.com, 70%. But there's good prices there, and that's why people are ordering it. The imports are organized and trying to keep up their face, their name into it. A good example is their involvement in sporting sponsorships. Oh, excuse me. Last U.S. major sporting event, if you think about it, was sponsored. The last one was sponsored by a domestic wine producer. You can't think of it. Gallo pinned a deal in 2022 to become the official sponsor of the NFL. But previous to that, what winery has been the face of any sporting event? There is none, that a domestic winery. For example, the Kentucky Derby is sponsored by G.H. Mumm, which is a champagne from France. The U.S. Open and many golf tournaments are sponsored by Kim Crawford, and you see her all over that winery, all over the TVs. That's from New Zealand. The NBA, National Basketball Association, sponsored by a French champagne company, Moet and Chandon. And Major League Soccer is sponsored by an Argentinian company, Trivento. And then last one on the list here is, Prosecco DOC Consortium sponsors Prosecco Week in the U.S. And they've been doing that for 6 consecutive years, doing the Prosecco Week. So it's none that is sponsored by U.S. wine companies. Most all of them are foreign companies that you really see. There may be some small places here and there, but not too many. Here's a good example. Consider, for example, a Tennessee wine producer who's doing 2,000, 3,000 cases of wine, and he can't get national distribution because at 2,000, 3,000, the distributors don't look at him even. He could sponsor a sporting event in his neighboring state and somewhere around where he is, and supply the event with wine, which would attract a wider customer base. And then he could sell to a few retail stores and a few customers, expanding the base a little bit more. And then as he's fulfilling these orders, it starts becoming logistically challenging to meet this. So he pulls in distributors, a 3-tier distributor system for to get the wines out there. and then he also does some direct sales. This is no guesswork for the wholesalers. They receive a tried and true brand from a national distributor, and it gives them national support. But this small winery has to keep up with the demand on this. If it can't, or if it doesn't, then it's going to lose that distributorship. So it's the whole premise of trying to get these out there and trying to get them to use or to sell American wines is sort of a catch-22 here, and not in the good direction. That point being, lawmakers have to understand that U.S. wineries pay the taxes, create jobs. They use domestic stuff for just about everything they can. I know at the winery, when I had the winery open, I tried to do bottles and labels and everything domestic as much as I possibly could. Sometimes it cost more, but it was, in my opinion, it was worth it. It was better to do that. So they need to look at this. They need to look at how much it really affects the domestic bottom line overall in the wine business. And, it's American. You say your wine is made in America. I think it does carry something instead of foreign, and we have a whole bunch of different wines here. So we need to do something here before it gets too late. Vineyards all across the United States are getting ripped up. Fruits being left to hang on the vine with no buyers. Things like these wildfires and stuff like this have really hurt the demands for the fruit. The U.S. wine industry basically is struggling and needs more support of the domestic producers and consumers and legislatures to give a little boost to the American wine scene. And that needs to be done soon rather than later. I'm seeing so many reports that the domestic wine industry is having problems in different areas and distribution and stuff. And, any legislatures out there, if you are in contact with the legislature, write them and tell them, let's do what we can to support the American wine business without strangling it. So there you go. That is paraphrased from the Craft Wine Association too. Most of that stuff I just read you there. So it's something that's not just me. That's stuff that's happening out there now. Speaking of wines, what is a normal tasting now? I saw this article. This is something else that's going to affect you. What is the normal, what you expect from the tasting now? To begin with, it depends on where you are. But most people think of Napa and that area there whenever they think of tastings. So let's talk about that. Since the pandemic, which put a whole new twist on everything, wine tastings have changed. Do you want a simple wine tasting where you walk in, sit down, this is going to cost you X amount of dollars, I'll explain it to you and all that? Now, Florida State's Winery we were charging $3.50 for a tasting, and that basically covered the cost of a wine. A glass of wine ran $3.50 to $5, depending what you got. And after you've had a tasting with all the wines we had, it was just about a glass that you ended up with, and that was $3.50. And you got the port was poured also, so that was like a bonus because that was more expensive. So it was $3.50. But we're traveling out to Napa, and Napa tastings are more expensive. I mean, they have tastings in tree houses, and they have them on caves, and they have them on horseback, and it can cost anywhere from $25 up to $250. But of course, if you're riding a horse and you get a tasting with it, that's going to run you more money, but still, it's all part of the tasting. And we can all remember, well, we all can't. I'm old enough, and I've been there, and I know, remember the days when Napa was free. When I first started to go up to Napa, you can go to numerous wineries, and it wouldn't cost you anything to try a few wines, as long as you didn't abuse it, as long as you continue to respect the fact that you're not going to sit there and taste every wine that they have available, and say, okay, I like this style, and you taste it, and you usually buy a bottle or two, and then you move on. That was what Napa was like. Well, you don't get that anymore. It's the prices for wine tastings have really outpaced inflation. It's gotten seriously expensive to do tastings. But what do people expect? Okay, this is the question. And the complaints are there. I mean, the Wall Street Journal, Wine Enthusiast, and San Francisco Chronicle have all brought up this point. And they say that for a tasting, you go up to Napa, stay in a hotel room up there, you're looking at $1,300 a night. Tasting fees, $225 per person. And there are wineries that charge that. That's why so many people don't stay in Napa. They stay south and around San Francisco and stuff, which is cheaper. But the problem is that the growth area is not in the millennials. The growth area is in the 60-plus age bracket. And the 60-plus age bracket is the ones that got the money and the ones that are doing the tastings, and this is the normal for them now because this is what they will pay. And younger people, and I've said this on other shows, younger people are not doing wine as much as they used to. So you go to Napa and you're going to expect to spend an average of $81 for a tasting. And that is the average. All right. It's about 3 times what you'll find in Washington State if you go to Washington State and do a tasting, which is going to run you about $26. Oregon, average fee there is $32. You get to other states, go over to the East Coast, and you're going to find tastings that are going to run you around $15 to $25. So it's going to make a difference. But another thing you got to consider, for example, the grapes, a ton of grapes, Cabernet Sauvignon, for example, is going to run you $8,820 a ton in Napa to get yourself Napa Cabernet Sauvignon. You go up to Washington, you get a ton of Cabernet Sauvignon there. It's going to cost you $1,505. I mean, that's almost 8 times more, 8 times more to get a Napa Cabernet than it is to get Washington. Therefore, it's going to cost more to taste it. Now, Tablas Creek, for example. I get an email from Tablas Creek. Very interesting email. In fact, I've mentioned the email address to you before, telling you it's interesting. It's one that you should, check out. And it's a blog. And they tell about what's happening. What's happening at Tablas Creek and all that. But Tablet Creek says they charge $25 for tasting, but you get that comped if you buy 2 bottles of wine, or if you sign up for the wine club, and if you're a member of the wine club or a member in the trade, they don't charge you for tastings at all. So that's, one thing, the $25, they can pretty much absorb that on that. But he says that the prices are trending upward, and it's something that they have to look at because the number of people coming in who are used to cheaper prices are a little leery of paying any large tasting fee, especially in areas like Paso Robles, which is where Tablet Creek is located, and different areas around the country. So these areas have to watch what their tasting fee is. But they try to do different things to bring them in, try to do different things to get the customer a full experience, get the person coming in a full experience. For example, let's see, where is it here? It says other producers are eager to bring in new wine lovers and are focused on figuring out how to deliver the best experience for them that they can at a reasonable price. And very few don't charge now. You won't find, unless you find some, a whole bunch of wineries. Like when I went to Kentucky, there was a bunch of wineries, and you had to make a effort to get some of them. They don't charge. They have, let you taste 3 or 4 wines. If you do taste more, they will charge you on them. But that's it. But it says, let's see, in New Mexico, here it is. A Rio Grande winery in New Mexico has really upscaled it. They said they've invested in staff, facilities, and the overall experience in hopes of drawing more millennials into the tasting room. They are seeing that as the future. A loungy vibe with an expansive patio, perfect for taking in the sunsets over the Oregon mountains. And the flights start at $16. They have free live music. They have paint and sip events and food truck nights. The Rio Grande is pulling in around 25,000 visitors per year. Rio Grande Winery is the name of it. And about 25,000 visitors a year, which is sustainable, very, very much so. But they have put some money in their lounge and all that stuff to try to try to move these numbers up. They're saying that the enjoyment first, wine education second philosophy is becoming more and more predominant around the country. After the pandemic, everyone agrees that essentially the virtual tastings are over now. And so people have to change the way that they're doing tastings. You can still do virtual tasting. There's companies out there that do. In fact, we've interviewed them, and they're still doing virtual tasting. And, more power to them. It's something that a lot of people enjoy, and they still look forward to it. It can get expensive instead of going to the winery, and it's not as easy to buy the wines you want. But they offer all sorts of stuff. It says Yancey Stanforth McGlure, who is co-owner of White Cliff Vineyard and Winery in Gardenier, New York, says that he realizes that not everybody wants the same thing. Some people prefer to go outside with friends. Some want to chat inside, and others want to speak to the wine people. He said, and it's hard to meet everybody, so they offer all sorts of stuff. They have a grab-and-go flight of 5 wines for $16 with written information on a paper they hand to them, or they can get a guided tour of 6 wines for $22, and it's face-to-face. All sorts of new and different ways to do it. But if you're willing to pay for it, and there's wineries out there that are building it so you can pay for it. As example, the newly opened Saldo Salon in Napa is trying to completely set a new standard for tasting. They say, quote, "We want to meet people where they are and create a dialogue that will not only push them further along their journey, but also guide us. We offer a la carte walk-in tasting by the glass and more extensive experiences." And it's really something that they do. At most tasting rooms, people hang for an hour and then they're out. But we want them to stay here. And the whole purpose of the space and the brand is to explore. They may be maybe the first and only opportunity for folks to try their Cabernet Zinfandel and a skin of fermented Fagalina alongside the classic Zen and Red blend. But currently, the wine and culinary experience, if you go to Saldo Salon. The Saldo, and by the way, Saldo Wine's parent company is the Prisoner Wine Company, which you very possibly could be familiar with that if you've ever seen Prisoner on the shelf. But currently, the wine and culinary experience is $175 per person. I know, I was staggered when I first saw that too. And that entails a Mexican-inspired, locally sourced menu with dishes like oysters with agua chili, campeche tostadas, and chicken tamales with mole sauce. So you get some fancy stuff, $175 per person. So they said, we've had enough of the wine and cheese board experiences, and we want to move it to the next level. But, really, I don't know. I have a hard time with that. And, I don't know. If you don't have a hard time with it, good for you. And, let me know what you think about it. You can always email me. I don't get very many emails, but this is something that, how much are you willing to pay for a tasting? I don't know. There's a Mount Salem Vineyards in Pittstown, New Jersey, who you can get 5 wine samples or a full glass for $15. That's what I was offering, samples or a full glass. The private tasting requires an appointment, takes about 90 minutes, and includes 6 wines, and it costs $50 per person. And then they say every month they host a food and wine pairing lunch or dinner for $55 or $90, depending on which one you get. They're invite-only events. So, the new normal will never be the same in Napa or New Jersey or Texas or Pennsylvania or anywhere you go. It has passed. The days of going in and sitting down and, saying, I'd like to try, 3 of your wines or 5 of your wines, and they'll pour it for you, and you say, okay, give me a bottle of that and that. That's no longer. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you to do a tasting just about anywhere. And again, if you have a local winery that's not charging, email me. Let me know. I think most of them do now. So they say that the cost of tasting is And the new way they're doing is trying to appeal to millennials. And they said they've already got the older collectors, and they are hooked. They're doing it now. And I am an older collector, and I do my wines, and I know what I like, and I have been doing that. But they're looking at a new fan base. They have to get a new fan base because we old people are not going to be around forever, and they need to open it up to some younger people. So, but let me know. Let me know if you have a winery around you, or if there's one you attend all the time or something, and how much it costs for tastings, or what you're willing to spend on tastings. I'm really curious about that. If it's decent wine, I'm willing to go up to 25. But I tell you, I can't do $50, $7,500 like for a tasting of 6 wines or something. I stagger at that. Oh, all right. Let's see. This next one here is no. I talked to you about Sherry Lohman closing down last year and taking a bunch of people's wines and bottles and all that. There has been more crisis in New York throughout this past year. There's wine storage places. There's a couple of wine storage places that are just messing with people, just screwing over people all over the place. One guy says he lost wine, which included 2 cases of 1982 Petrus Bordeaux, valued at $90,000. The Chelsea Wine Storage was going out of business, and Sherry Lohman's going out of business. They took a bunch of people's wines and sold it and all that. But the Chelsea Wine Storage was trying to retrieve wines and all that, and they kept telling people they didn't have them, and they were looking at different places, and they discovered them in the basement of a old Taco Bell, was it? Let me see what this restaurant was that they found them in. Oh, TGI Fridays. They found them in the basement of a closed TGI Fridays. A whole bunch of wines stacked up inside this store. Some of them, no AC, some of them with values of, it said the total collections are looking at $500,000 or more on some of these people. And they're mishandling some wines that are valued. This one customer said that he had over 1,200 bottles of wine with a value of anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000, and they were just sitting in the store with no AC and just in cardboard boxes and stuff. So it continues. The drama continues. They said that they have a court date coming up in March, is it? Yeah, they have a court date coming up in March, and they said that they don't expect these people to show up because they're not answering the phone anyway. Why should they show up for a court date? And even if they do, they put a lien against all their stuff and all that. They don't care. When people do this stuff, they don't care. They're saying some of the bottles they're finding that are located upstairs. Boy, that motorcycle is loud around the building, around the house. They're saying it's doesn't make any difference because they're not going to return calls. They're not going to do anything, and they can have a judgment against them, and they don't care. And that's what's happening. A lot of this stuff, So beware if you're going to get any wine that you're going to store. I mean, there's a ABC Liquor down here has 3 or 4 different ABC Liquor locations where you can store wine. I think Total Wines does too, if I'm not mistaken. I think Total Wines might have a place where you can rent and store wines. I may be mistaken on that one, but there's places out there, and when you start trusting other people and all that with what's going on, be sure to do background checks and be sure they're insured and all sorts of good stuff, because it's just scary that you can invest that much money into your wine and then have it disappear and nothing you can do about it. Okay, let's see, what's this next one here? Oh, this is labeling wine, European labeling laws. I mentioned this, I think, last week or the week before last, about the European labeling laws. And I just found out more about it here. It's all the additions made to the wine, including allergens, must be published. Okay, and the official term, it says, any substance or product, including flavorings, additives, and food enzymes used in the manufacture of a food, is classified as an ingredient. So therefore, grapes, sucrose, concentrated grape must, also some of them add tartaric acid, which is acid regulator, bottling gas, all that stuff has to be displayed. And it's all on the mandatory list of ingredients. And it's, it could be things like sulfur or egg whites or dried fish bladder and all of this. These are all things, harmless ingredients, and the chemicals are probably even less harmless, but all of this has to be listed on the new EU wine disclosure and additions list. And most of wineries are doing a QR code where you do that and it takes you to the list, because they're not going to do the 5-page list on the wine bottle. So that's happening. But what surprised me is the ingredients do not include or cover viticultural inputs to the wine. Okay. Residues from, particularly in pesticides, insecticides and stuff, are not considered ingredients. So therefore, they don't have to be on the label. No, the ingredient list is just what is added in the winery. So if a farmer uses pesticides or chemical fertilizers or anything else out in the vineyard, then that's it. It goes into the wine, and some of this stuff goes in, but it does not have to be listed when you put that list out of what's in the wine. So isn't that a little odd that you have to put a list of all this other stuff, but that other stuff? Well, okay. So I just found that out. I'm going to share that with you. So when you get your imports from the European Union and you start looking at it, what's in that wine, consider that nothing that the vineyard had on it is going to be added to it, because that's not required. Okay, what's this one? Oh, genetic diversity of North American grapes. We have had experts on talk about native grapes in I can't think of their names now, but the guys came on and talked about it. Interesting. I posted on the Facebook page the interview and the talk they had about them and all that. Very, very interesting stuff. Well, they have now done the genome biology of what they say, I don't think they did all of them because there's like hundreds of them. I think they did, let's see, where does it say here? I'm trying to find out how many. 12 grapes that they have done the genome on. And they call it the pangenome, which it helps understand the grapes, and it shows why they are resilient, are tolerant of drought, and have heat resistance, and have a defense against Pierce disease and all that. By looking at these genomes, you can tell what it is and, well, possibly breed it into others. I mean, this is how we get a lot of grapes as they are anyway, because we do crossbreeding, and this is a good way to do it. The North American grapes are known for their resistance to disease and their adaptability, but they're not flavored for taste or for wine quality, whereas European grapevines are. I mean, Chardonnay, Cabernet. These, though, are less resistant to diseases, and they do produce high-quality wines. So, North American species and the genome for those has let us know what they are and what the difference is, and they can look at the genome of the European grapes, Vitis vinifera, and compare it to the American ones that they did. And it didn't say what ones they did here. They just said they did, 12 of them, but it didn't say which ones. But they can look at the different ones and see where it is and do CRISPR, which is slicing out a little bit of the genome and putting it in the other. Genetic engineering, if you will, but it's not really, because they call it CRISPR, which is something a little bit different. So, we'll see. I love the way they get around it with these different words. But if we can get these North American grapes to give us an idea of why they are resistant to these diseases and resistant to drought and all that, it very possibly could help us with grapes and grapevines all over the world. So the E&J Gallo Winery and Louis P. Martini Winery have joined in and putting money into this research and helping this research along with UC Davis, University of California, Davis. So it is an ongoing thing, but they have now done the genome of some Native American grapes, and hopefully it will open up new doors and new passages into making European grapes more adaptable, if you will. Okay, where's I keep losing my mouse. Okay, another quick thing here. Fewer French people are drinking wine. They used to be the big wine drinkers. Now they are dropping off, and they're dropping off fast. Only about 1 in 10 French say that they're pouring a glass of wine every day. This is a new study that just came out first of this month. Report covering wine consumption trends between 2015 and 2022. Say only 11% of the respondents say they drink wine every day or almost every day. This is 5% points lower than a previous study done in 2015. And in the 1980 study, when it was first done, around half of the French population drank wine daily or almost daily. Now that is down to what's the percent? Oh, geez, where is it? They're at 11. No, that's not right. 11%. 11%. Back in 1980, almost 50%. Now it's down to 11% that drink wines. Oh boy, the French are really falling behind. The decline in wine drinking comes and a complete overhaul of alcohol consumption in France, as it is around the world. Big majority of the people still consume wine, but not on a daily basis. It's occasionally. So, and one last thing before I go, I haven't mentioned it now. Here's the last Thursday of the month, and I'm just now mentioning it, that January is dry month. You should not have been drinking at all during January, according to the things. They're labeling January as dry month. You give up alcohol for the month. I did not. If you decide to do so, more power to you, but I did not.
It's a bad recommendation. I don't understand why would we celebrate that?
I don't. That's why I wait until the last day of the month, I think, to say something about that, because but I think is it dry month? What is it called? I think dry January, I think, is what it's referred to as. I've seen 3 or 4 things pop up that talk about dry January, and I think why?
Yeah. Well, UC Davis says dry January, and then it says giving up alcohol can mean better sleep. Really?
Yeah.
No.
I know. Yeah. Some people like to have a glass of wine before they go to bed. They say, "Oh, it makes me sleep better."
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't see it myself.
Must be all those things they're not putting on the label for you. Gotta make it.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, let's see. I don't know if you had any other things to mention, but I do have an announcement, maybe 2. Coming up. Oh, I should do this like a promo. Coming up Saturday, April the 6th. No, that sounds. Anyway,
this Saturday
in April, Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Tampa. It's the Big Smoke Whiskey Fest. Whiskey Advocate and Cigar Aficionados Big Smoke Whiskey Fest. I am sure Ron is going to go there along with the cigar aficionados that he meets with and does the show there. And let me check. Oh, maybe not. General admission is
maybe not. How much?
$345 for general admission.
Whoa! And that took me back. That took me back.
That's only for 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Wow, that's
3 hours.
3 hours for $345.
That's just about one Churchill cigar. Well, that's in 3 hours. That's about one Churchill cigar.
Man, and
Churchill's the long ones, the bigger ones.
See, I have no idea. I'm not a smoker of that yet, but still interested. It says collect and smoke 30-plus top-rated cigars and sample over 100 premium whiskeys very quickly between 6:30 and 9:30 p.m. And enjoy meeting the cigar makers, distillers, and blenders behind your favorite brands while you smoke, eat, and relax at an enormously fast speed. VIP admission now.
That's right.
5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. So you get in an hour early. Costs just $445.
Oh, well, I might just go,
There you go.
Oh, my gosh. That's
for
3 hours or 4 hours. I mean,
that's Saturday, April 6th at the Seminole.
Are they giving you cigars, I wonder?
I did
Does
not
it say that you actually get cigars? Or do you purchase them there? Or
I'm guessing.
Did they say any of that?
It says sample over 100 premium whiskeys and spirits, so I'm guessing part of that, you're getting something there. It'd have to.
Yeah, because you're not going to be able to make it. 150 whiskeys and spirits. You're not going to make it to 150 of them in 3 hours.
No.
The time you fight through the crowd, and there will be a crowd, no matter how much it costs, there will be a crowd.
Yep.
Time you fight through the crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think
you're not going to taste them all.
Right.
But you would think that they would
collect
at Hard Rock, and if they allow smoking, I don't think they allow smoking in Hard Rock.
I thought they did in the casino. I mean, I was there.
Oh, did they?
They used to when I 10, 15 years ago I think it was last time I went in the casino part, and it was like a damn chimney on fire. I was like, oh my God, this is just like being in Vegas. I remember Vegas. Vegas was, I think they invented cigarette smoke and all that stuff, but people were smoking in the casino.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
But, some people, but cigars, can you imagine
a
room, an area with all these cigars being lit for 3 hours? I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can't imagine that.
Industrial fans sucking it out.
Yeah, could be. But if you got the money, you got the cash. If you're going to go there and gamble it away anyway, why not go to an event and see what it's all about? It's Big Smoke Whiskey Fest, Saturday, April the 6th at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, right down the road from here and from you, I'm sure, in Tampa, Florida. So, yeah, that's there. Let's see. Posted on the Facebook page for the for Flightline about the closing Joe's Picker Place. If you want to travel there, I believe they're going to be open till the end of the month, and they are selling some stuff. So get there while there's stuff to get. Located at 104 Commonwealth Avenue,
which is only next Thursday or next.
It is, isn't it?
Next Wednesday.
I just realized that.
Yeah.
I thought, oh man, we got like 3 weeks. No, wow.
No, it's Wednesday.
So get there while you can, while there's things to be gotten for sure, and make a deal on something that they have in the store. 104 Commonwealth Avenue, Southwest in Polk City. That's in Florida, right off the big I-4 there, just a little bit north of that in Polk City.
Yeah.
And wish them the best. Hope they find a new venue and get some success there. So. They did a lot.
Really.
A really cool place. So I found that in the that ad for Whiskey Fest in Wine Spectator magazine. Thank you very much.
All right.
This month, it looked like the mailman, I don't know, accidentally dropped it out of his Jeep while he was going down the interstate, picked it up, and scraped it down the street again. It's mangled. It's pretty bad.
And throw in your mailbox.
What in the world did you?
I haven't gotten mine yet.
Oh, really?
Mine should be in tomorrow then, if you got yours. Yeah, I usually get it before you.
I got mine, and I need some tape or something to put it back together again. But it's definitely mangled.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's a good read. There's a lot of good information in there, and things that we've.
There always is. Yeah.
Ron's talked about quite a few, so read along or whatever. We are done. I believe we have. Let me check for next. February. Is that next week? That is next week. Next Thursday.
That's next week. Yeah.
We should have a guest. I'll tell you about that. However, I was going back in my memory because I remember what all the shows were about. August 24th, we talked to Clark Smith. Clark Smith is an author, educator, wine industry consultant.
There you go.
He is the editor of Appalachian America, has like 30,000 pages, and he is an expert on Native American grapes. And as soon as you were talking about it, I go, I know exactly who he's talking about because I memorize all the shows.
Clark Smith.
And,
Clark Smith. You do. You're very good about.
I am
your mind is just still trapped when it comes to information.
Photosynthesized. What do they call it? Photographic, whatever it is.
The
photosynthesized brain. Yes, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea.
All right. We might coin a term there.
Yeah, it might be. So next week we'll have. We should have Denise Thornberry with the Tasting House, a tasting experience, and we'll give you more information and all that stuff. And should be a guest next week on February the 1st.
Yeah, next week.
So stay tuned for that.
Wow, already. January's done. Dry January is done. You can start drinking Thursday. Yeah.
Never stopped. We don't take that kind of advice.
Never stopped.
Yes. Y'all have a good
never
week.
Stopped. Every time I hear never twice somebody met, I go, oh, yeah, that's right. That's the end of it right there.
Yeah, that was it. Let's see what else. I had to cough there. All right. We'll talk to you all next week. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Be safe. And thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next one.
Check out Mike's show Saturday morning, too.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
All right,
and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Be safe out there.
This concludes tonight's broadcast of All About Wine with your host, Ron. For show information, links to All About Wine on Twitter and Facebook, or to be a guest on this show, visit the show website at www.allaboutwinebtr.com. Archived shows are available for download on iTunes or on our show page at blogtalkradio.com/allaboutwine. Thank you for listening. Drink responsibly, and we'll see you next time on All About Wine.